everybody, Everyday Angler here. Me and John just got done fishing. I hope y'all enjoyed that video. I decided just to make another little video with John. I'm kind of gonna ask him a few questions fishing related. These are not gonna be like becoming a YouTube star related questions, right? Just to kind of pick his brain a bit about where he fishes, you know, what he uses to fish, and some deciding factors on what he's doing when he's fishing, right? So the first question I have for you is, let's say you do a lot of these drainage ditch type, stop in the middle of the road, fishing creeks. You walk down to a creek. What are some deciding factors that you have that I'm like, I'm gonna fish this or I'm not gonna fish this?
So first off, thanks for Everyday Angler over here, and we had a good time fishing today. It was nice. But my channel is based on fishing in creeks, and when I mean creek, I mean like a trickle of water to like a river we waded today, any kind of stream like that. And what I found that there's no wrong place to fish. I've done too many times where I've stopped at a random looking spot and it looked like it was nothing. And I'm, you know, yes, I'm not catching giants, but you can catch there's fish in every body of water. There's fish in it pretty much. So if I see water, I usually know there's fish in it. And if I see an out of the way place, it even makes it more interesting because you know no one else is fishing there.
Yeah, so less pressure on the fish.
Usually if it's clean looking water, ditches, I'm not looking for mud holes, but most of them you can find a little clear looking water spot or a little, you know, drainage ditch in the side of town. There's one right down the road that I fish at, and it's right in the middle of the highway, but there's a bunch of little fish in there. And it's just because I stopped and looked in one day and saw them, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna try to catch them.
Awesome. So now let's talk about, you decided to fish the creek, you're in the creek. What are you casting at, you know?
All right, so yeah, if it's a decent sized creek enough to where, you know, you can break it down, I'm just looking for little deep pools. You know, you can kind of look at the water, just find a little deep pool, find a little eddy off of the current, right below the current, and just kind of hitting it in there, because if it's a small creek and there's a little deep pool, there's gonna be something in there. Yeah. And usually the smaller the creek, the more aggressive the fish are, because they gotta eat to survive, so they're all fighting each other. If I'm going to a bigger creek, bigger water, like a river, I'm looking for kind of flowing water and still looking for those deep pockets to cast into, sinking a lure in there, a little swim bait or a little hellgrammite or Ned rig, just kind of, you're getting it in that little deep pockets right in front of the fish that's kind of sitting in there.
And some things we talked about a little bit in the truck was your choice of like line. I see you fishing a lot lighter tackle than most guys chasing these bigger smallmouth and stuff. So why don't you talk about that for a little bit and kind of explain why you do it the way you do?
Yeah, I love downsizing. I'd rather be undersized than oversized, and fishing these small creeks and stuff, and I'm not having to set hook with like a medium heavy or, you know, a heavy bass rod. So a lot of times I'm using a medium light to a light rod, sometimes ultralight, and a lot of times I'm using really light jig heads. Like this is a 1/15 ounce or 1/16 ounce. I got 1/32 ounce, and like the heaviest thing I throw is like a 1/10 ounce, like you know, jig head, because I'm throwing a lot of times little baits like that, little 3-inch swim baits,
yeah.
Or you know, sometimes even little crankbaits, and I want some light line to cast it out there. So recently I've kind of gone to using braid a lot more. I'm using like a 10-pound braid with an 8-pound leader, and I tie it on there with a double uni knot, and it ties it on there where I can really throw out those small lures. And the lighter the jig head, the lighter the line, the more realistic the bait looks. Also, if you're fishing in creeks and stuff where they're real, you know, 2 or 3 foot of water, if you have a heavy jig head, it's gonna sink to the bottom really fast. Mm-hmm. So the longer you can make that thing just kind of flitter and sink down slow, it gets it in the strike zone for those fish, and it makes it more realistic for them fish to hit it.
Yeah, I actually used one of his setups today towards the end of the video, and I realized that some of the things in common with fly fishing is your leader, his leaders were tied like seamlessly, so I could reel in to the leader point and there would be like, it wouldn't be catching on the end eye of the rod or anything like that. The braid was really smooth when casting it. And any other reasons why you use braid and you add that leader instead of just straight braid?
Yeah, so I'm learning a lot about braid, and main thing, the biggest downside about braid is its abrasion. It gets cut really easy. It's real thin, so if you get hung up on rocks, it'll snap. So I put about a 6-foot leader line, so I'm tying the braid and I got a leader line tied on with a double uni knot, which is real small knot, but it's real strong. And I got about 6 foot of leader. That way, if it bounces off rocks, I usually use 8-pound mono or fluorocarbon leader just to hold up to when it bounces off rocks and rubs on rocks. It's not going to get cut, and it's going to be pretty strong. And sometimes the fish, you know, have strong teeth. They're not cutting on it and stuff like that. So also the braid is very more sensitive. Like you can feel how sensitive it was. Yeah. Like you feel a little bluegill peck at it. And also when you set the hook, it doesn't stretch, so you're getting instant hook set. Instant hook set. So it's a lot more. I felt like I've caught a lot more fish and just landed a lot more fish using that setup. Okay.
All right, so we've got how he breaks down a creek, what tackle he's using. Why creeks? Because here in Chattanooga, you know, you're either driving an hour and a half to fish for trout, or you're chasing big bass or big catfish, and a lot of these little streams get ignored. And then, you know, John fishes them, of course, but I just want to know why.
Yeah, like this creek right here we're standing by is a creek that I fished. It's right in the middle of my town, and it's on a greenway. People walk by it every day. People walking by it, and every time I come out here, people are like, "Oh, is there fish in there?" They have no idea. I've caught 2-pound bass out of this little stream. Most of the time, I'm catching little sunfish and bluegill, but I like creeks because I think it's kind of easier. It's more relaxing. You don't have to get out in the boat. Anybody can do it. A lot of times I like getting in the water and wading. It's cool, it's fun, especially in the summertime. You know, it gets 1,000,000 degrees outside. You get down here and stay cool. The fish are more aggressive. They're not up and down like lake fish. They're not moving around. They're in there, and you're kind of sneaking up on them and you're catching them. And I just appreciate all the different species that are in there. You might catch 8 or 10 different species of fish in an hour and a half fishing, you know, and just have a blast doing it.
And one of the last questions I wanted to ask him was, what's your favorite species of fish, if you have one? We could do like top 3 or something, and why?
Here recently, probably smallmouth bass is what I've been going for a lot, but they're in a little bit bigger creeks and stuff, but they're just so aggressive, and we do have a lot of those in Tennessee in certain areas, and you kind of, they live in really awesome water. But my favorite fish, is a green sunfish. Really? Because green sunfish I feel like they are a creek fish. They are what you catch in a creek. They live in the tiniest little spot of water. They kind of live away from anything. They're super aggressive and so fun to catch. Colorful. Yeah. And I just feel like when I think of a creek fish, I just think of a green sunfish. They're really cool fish. Okay, so last question. Let's say, you know, you're pretty up there in YouTube now. Some rich guy just says, "Hey, what's your like dream fish to catch? I'm paying for it. You're going wherever you want. Chase any species you want. What are you gonna do?" Oh man, it's okay. You know, we could edit the thinking out a little bit. My brain's smoking here. I don't know. It would hard not to be. I don't know. I love fishing just random places. So I would love to go in some of these countries that I never hear anybody fish and just see what's in there. Yeah. Just to catch some kind of wild random fish that you've never heard of. I think it'd be more than, you know, a peacock bass would be awesome down in Colombia or something like that. But a lot of people do that. I would love to just go catch something, just go to a tiny stream, catch some random fish that no one's ever heard of, and just show it on video. I think it'd be really cool. All right, well, thanks, John. If you guys haven't watched the video where we fished together, I'm gonna leave a link up here and in the description. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video, kind of getting to pick John's brain a little bit. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go check out John's channel, Creekfishingadventures, and I'll see you guys next time on another episode of The Everyday Angler.